Les Deux Alpes has one of the longest ski seasons in the Alps.
Over 100 million recently invested in state-of-the-art infrastructure.
We still have an enormous room for capital appreciation.
Attracts hundreds of thousands of visitors each year.
You can even connect with La Grave, which is the kind of mecca for freeriders.
Is a destination in its own right.
Our advice is really, when you have a choice between a classic residence and a tourism residence with a classification, go for the...
What does this mean for property investors? Hi Charles-Antoine, thank you for joining us.
Hello Lloyd, many thanks for the invite.
How are you today? Where are you?
I'm very good. Today I'm in Annecy, recording this call from our head office. Autumn period, the winter is around the corner. We have the beautiful autumn colors at the moment, so it's extremely nice. And today we are going to talk about a new destination for us, which is Les Deux Alpes.
Exactly. So this resort, like I've always thought, is known for its high altitude skiing. It has a vibrant après-ski. It's year round as well, but I feel like it's sometimes overshadowed in conversations by other destinations like the big ones, Chamonix, Val d'Isère, Courchevel, Méribel. But let's be clear, this is a place that is a destination in its own right. It's home to France's second oldest ski domain. It has one of the largest skiable glaciers, maybe the largest, I think, and attracts hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. So this is why, we thought we wanted to talk about it, and so we can uncover why this resort should be top of mind when compared to the others. But to do this, Charles-Antoine, I think we should start by going backwards if we can, and looking at a bit of the history of Les Deux Alpes, which I believe is quite rich, storied. It stretches back to the 1930s. And it has connections to World War II. So what are some of the defining moments in the resort's evolution, and how did it shape the village as it stands today?
So the story of Les Deux Alpes starts a bit at the moment of the Olympics in Chamonix at the end of the 20s, so at the beginning of last centuries. And so all the farmers were bringing the animals, the cows, on this part of the Alps, which is like high altitude, around 1600, 1700 meters. And not very far from Grenoble, and so people were going up on this part, and it's going a bit with the first slide we had on the winter sport, thanks to the Olympics in Chamonix. So thanks to this big push around the mountain, a man decided to develop the skiing on this part of the Alps. But it's true, like all the process has been slowed down by World War II. So that's why between 30s, 40s, 1945, so everything has slowed down with the wars, and then restarted just after World War II, where they started to develop a very nice high altitude ski domain.
So it has this history, Charles-Antoine, but where did its name come from, Les Deux Alpes?
In fact, we have Les Deux Alpes because at the time, so it was the junction between two mountain pastures, between Mont-de-Lan, which is one village at the entrance of Les Deux Alpes, and Vénosque, which is the second village at the end of Les Deux Alpes. And at the exact position of the actual Les Deux Alpes, we are between these two mountain pastures, which explain why it's called Les Deux Alpes.
It's also known for its upside-down layout as well, isn't it? Where it has the beginner-friendly slopes are higher up on the glacier, and the more challenging terrain is found lower down. Another type of this is Val d'Isère has some of that at the top of the Soleils, but this is quite a special factor in ski resorts. What do you think about that?
Yes, it's true, like the natural configuration of the site makes it like you have a kind of big walls overlooking the main village, and once you go up on this part, it becomes a bit more accessible for beginner skiers, for beginners. And then for really the one who wants to come down to the village, they have designed green run and blue run to allow everybody to come back safely after a day on the slopes.
Exactly. So if we take that evolution into context, the old and then some of the more unique elements in the topography and the geography of the resort, and we fast forward through to today, and perhaps even look forward to the future. Les Deux Alpes has had over 100 million recently invested in state-of-the-art infrastructure, brand new gondolas, etc., and it's making strides, as other resorts are trying to do, in evolving and modernising its infrastructure. What does this mean for property investors and the everyday visitor experience?
What's important to note in Les Deux Alpes is that Les Deux Alpes has one of the longest ski seasons in the Alps. They usually open for half term at the time we speak. They used to have like big events to launch the season. And going through the season, the glacier of Les Deux Alpes, as you said, which is one of the largest in Europe, is open in July. So from October to July, with a little break in June, you can ski in Les Deux Alpes. And in fact, they have just decided to replace the main central gondola, which goes from the center of the village to the top of the glacier. This lift is called Gendry, and they have just replaced it with the last generation telecabin. And the opening of this new gondola will be at the end of this month. So it's a real change for Les Deux Alpes, but it's true like this ski lift has been in use for several years. Everybody knows it, everybody takes it, so it will make it even more comfortable and quicker to reach the upper part of the domain.
And how would you say this affects the economics of the resort? You have every resort in the French Alps reinvests in its infrastructure because it has to evolve or die, and lose that visitor interest and property investor interest as well. But how do you think kind of Les Deux Alpes stands aside from other resorts with this kind of approach to their evolution?
Les Deux Alpes is one of the rare resorts which is lively all year. It's an high altitude resort, lively all year, which is not the case of some other resorts which are high altitude but a bit less accessible. In Les Deux Alpes, the lifts are running nearly all through the season, and once the skiers disappear at the end of the season, you have the mountain biking as well and all the hikers who took possession of the lift. So that's why, for example, even if we take the example in July, usually you ski in the morning from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then in the afternoon, all the skiers are replaced by the mountain bikers. So the aim is really to have a four-season resort which is able to operate again from October to July, August, depending on the snow condition.
And how would you compare it to other resorts that are trying to compete for that summer element? We know resorts in other domains like Léger in the Port du Soleil, Morzine as well. They've taken what was a cursory touristic add-on the summer season to their year-round tourism appeal and turned it into an actual economic generator of money from the people coming. Thousands and thousands of people in the summer from very little. Where do you think Les Deux Alpes sits in comparison to some of those other big players in the summer, and what does it mean for property investors in terms of rental, additional income, things like that?
Les Deux Alpes has the big advantage, I would say, compared to Morzine and Léger, where the skiing is very important, but summer season as well. It's very a sporty destination. If you come to Les Deux Alpes outside of the season, like from mid-June, you will see a lot of national team training on the glacier. All the sports clubs of every ski resort in France are there. So You still have, if I take on the summer season, you have the skiers, the sporty people, plus the mountain bikers. So it makes it busy and lively for the two worlds, for the summer world and the winter world. This is why Les Deux Alpes is quite special. And then if we try to relate it to the investment, to the quality of the investment in this resort, when we take all the high altitude resorts we are promoting, Val d'Isère, Méribel, Courchevel, we know that in this resort the prices are quite high, even very high, because now we have on most of them a strong base, even a bottom line around 10,000-12,000 euros per square meter, and we go up to 40,000-50,000 euros per square meter. In Les Deux Alpes, we still have an enormous room for capital appreciation, because at the moment on the project we promote, we have prices which are more or less between 8,000 euros per square meter to 12,000 euros per square meter. So the top prices are 12,000 euros per square meter, where in Val d'Isère, Méribel, Courchevel, 12,000 is really the bottom line. So which means not in the best location within the resort.
I don't know about you, but as I was preparing to talk to you today, it got me thinking more and more about when I've been at Les Deux Alpes and been on those family holidays and thinking about nice lunches with the jacket off, warm weather, you know, sometimes in April, sometimes in half term. And even I remember being taken off, you know, slightly off piste and having packed lunches on the piste and taking in the views as well. What are your memories?
For me, Les Deux Alpes is a very special place because I spent maybe 10 summers over there. I was going there with my friend for a full month. We were going there because it was the best snow park accessible in summer. And amazing memories over there. The classical day was again going to the glacier from 8 a.m. so early start, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. So you are like at the top of the world, surrounded by snow. You have panoramic views of the whole Alps. It's beautiful. You have your feet in the snow, and just after lunchtime, so nice barbecue as well on the glacier, which is quite amazing in summer. And then you go down to the village where it is super green, super nice, with hundreds of activities, with a summer sledge, mountain biking, tennis court, crazy golf. You have everything over there. It's really like full of activities. Swimming pool as well, of course. So it makes it like a super nice place where you ski in the morning, you have activities in the afternoon, and for the one who wants to go for drinks after dinner, it's possible as well, and they have a very nice nightlife in Les Deux Alpes.
And let's talk about families. Let's double click into kind of the family friendly. You know, and to be straight, there probably isn't a resort in the French Alps that, you know, that says it isn't friendly for families. You know, every single resort says it is. But your role is to, I imagine, is to really kind of know the detail about which ones are better, more comfortable for, you know, younger families or older families, and help investors to choose. So, you know, with that in mind, you know, how does Les Deux Alpes really define itself on the family front? I know it has this Flocon Vert eco certification, and it also tries to be sustainable. But, you know, on the family side, what does it really have that makes it different from other resorts?
The first thing I want to mention, I think, is the practicality of the resort itself. Les Deux Alpes is organized along a main street where you have shops, restaurants all the way, and wherever you are in the village, you are always very close from a ski slope or a ski lift. So it's very practical, and it's not like one lift going up and everybody going there to queue and go up. No, it's very well spread depending on where you are in the village, at the entrance, in the middle, or at the end of the village. Then the resort center is flat. So which means it's a very easy walk if you have young kids, for example, with the grandparents. The village itself is flat, so it's not steep, and so very easy to go from one side to the other, and with plenty of shops and restaurants. So that's why when I say it's a very nice all-year destination, it's not a small ski resort with only ski shops. You have much more to do than just again visiting ski shops.
And something that often comes up with Les Deux Alpes, Charles-Antoine, is the link to Alpe d'Huez. Now, I've been involved in the real estate industry for almost 20 years. And linked to ski for probably the same, French Alps, the Swiss Alps, and this is probably one of the oldest connections that I've heard of that is going to happen. So, is it ever going to happen?
From the information I have, talking to people working in the lift industry, I think this connection won't happen. In fact, they did a lot of studies, but now doing the mathematics, looking at the cost of it, at the technical aspect of it, you will be suspended like 300 meters above the ground in a small gondola. I think they have decided not to go ahead, but more for economical reason rather than just connecting for connecting, because at the time the mayor of Alpe d'Huez, Oris and Les Deux Alpes agreed it was a good idea, but I think overall, again, looking at the cost and the technicality of the project, it may not happen.
And with that in mind, that used to be a big calling card for Les Deux Alpes and potential future of infrastructure investment. But in reality, considering all the reinvestment in its own infrastructure of late, and some of the plans for the future to improve that base of the resort, do you think it doesn't really matter for for future property investors? It exists in it comfortably on its own already. Is that right?
Exactly. In fact, I have always known Les Deux Alpes on its own, and for me, it's really a resort on its own, which doesn't need the help of the neighbors. It's a great ski resort with a very nice variety of runs, steep, easy, very high altitude skiing on the glacier. You can even connect with La Grave at the very top of Les Deux Alpes, which is the kind of mecca for freeriders, where you have just a lift and you go down without any slopes. So it's really a high altitude skiing. So you have everything in Les Deux Alpes, and I think this connection, in an ideal world, would be great, but it's not necessary, really.
And you touched on some of the things there that make up the Alpine art de vivre, as it's known. How do you think the cultural or the culinary scene in Les Deux Alpes, enhances or affects the resort's lifestyle appeal for residents and visitors?
Les Deux Alpes is quite, first thing, is quite international as a destination. Me in Les Deux Alpes, I've seen quite a lot of Italian, Spanish, but then Dutch and all the British and the classic population. But so you already have a nice melting pot in Les Deux Alpes, and it's true. Like over the years, like all across the Alps, every resort has upgraded or is in the process of upgrading, and this is translated into the quality of the restaurant and the tables you can find over there. So again, you have a large variety of proposition of restaurants. It's not only one Savoyard restaurant and that's it. So that's why it makes it a nice destination, and again, always at a very competitive level of price. In some resorts today, when you go to the restaurant on the slope, finding a main dish under 40 euro is not easy. In Les Deux Alpes, you can still find lunch under 40 euro.
And you touched on the people there, the international kind of makeup of the visitors. Is that the same with people that choose to purchase a second home or perhaps an investment property there? Well, what are the nationalities of the people that buy ski property in Les Deux Alpes?
But we always have the same kind of nationalities. Of course, we have the British client. British are the most represented in the French Alps. So we have as well all the neighbors, the Belgium, the Dutch, the French, of course, because let's not forget that we have Grenoble, which is just like 1 hour and a half drive from Les Deux Alpes. So you have quite a lot of people who live there and all around. And because the skiing is very nice, you also have this population going there and investing there because it's a place where they can go every weekend during the school holidays and rent out the rest of the time. So yeah, no, all our classic nationalities are looking at it, and with the particularity of having as well some Italians, because Italy is not that far away. Population that we don't see necessarily when you go to Val d'Isère, Méribel, Courchevel, which is a different access for them.
And linked to the art de vivre and culture of a destination like this, one of the big factors is the evolution of the building and construction in that resort. Others have, large areas like Alpe d'Huez have a lot of large buildings of apartments. Can you talk us through and describe what it's like in Les Deux Alpes and walk us through the town a bit?
Well, the architecture of Les Deux Alpes is nice to me. The blocks are not too big, like we may have seen in other resorts. You have a good variety of construction and style. You have some chalet districts at the entrance of the resort and at the very end of the resort. You also have 1 or 2 large residences, but again, which are a bit on the edge of the village. And then the main street is composed of small apartment block, standalone chalets, and like everywhere in the Alps, we can see now that the town hall are very cautious when they deliver a building permit. So they really impose to have nice 2-side roof building and no more flat roof building like in the 70s. The blocks are not too big, not too high, so it gives a nice touch, in fact, to the resort, and you will be able to see it in the new project we have in our book for this winter.
Let's talk about those now if we can. But I want to ask you the question in a slightly different way. If you were going to buy in Les Deux Alpes and you had a good budget, what would you choose from the stock that you have at the moment, and how do you think that would perform in the future in terms of growth and rental appeal?
Alors, the first thing I want to mention here, Lloyd, is that today in more and more resorts, town hall impose to have all the new build properties available on the rental market to make sure they have a new flow of tourists every week who go to the shops, who buy ski pass, and this is really the general trend all across the Alps. And so today the town hall, when they give building permits, they tend to give priority to projects where you have a rental obligation in place. On our side, we have 2 very nice projects in Les Deux Alpes for this winter where we don't have any rental obligation. So on an investment point of view, the property is seen as much more liquid. It's a classic project, and once in, you decide to rent it, to make it as your main home, to make it as a second home without renting, to go for a light management where you want to rent 2 or 3 weeks a year, or you can even go for the VAT rebate and play the rental game. So this is why it's very nice, and our advice is really, when you have a choice between a classic residence and a tourism residence with a classification, go for the classic residence.
And where are these properties in Les Deux Alpes? Can you describe the location, some of the features?
Yes, so we have a very nice one that we started commercializing like maybe 3 weeks ago, and I think we have registered already 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 sales, so which is quite quick. We have, in my opinion, the best location in the resort. We are just so along the main run going down to the village on an elevated position, surrounded by the slope. So you have like super open views of all the roof of the village, the slopes, and the mountain in the background. So this one is really unbeatable, where we have apartments from 40 square meter to 150 square meter, from 1 bedroom to 5 bedroom. We can also combine units to create larger properties. The building work are started, so it's very easy now to understand how it will look. It used to be an old hotel which has been demolished, and now the construction is going ahead. So the foundation will be finished in a week or two, in 2 or 3 weeks, just before the arrival of the winter. And then we are on a delivery for December 26 for this project. So ski in, ski out, very large variety of apartment, and everywhere you look, the views are great and the access to the center is very easy. Here on this one, we have prices between 9 and 12,000 euros per square meter, including VAT, for the very nice penthouse. And then we have this second project located toward the Petite Aiguille ski run. Very nice project, around 20 units in a dead end, very quiet. So very quiet in quite a nice residential area with small construction all around. And on this one, we have an average price per square meter around 8,000 euros per square meter. So the price difference comes from the fact that the location is not as prime as the first one, but I've been on site several times and it's very nice. So you have the slopes next to you, ski in, ski out in a quiet area. And then at the back of the plot, you have a very nice pedestrian path, which allow you to link with Main Street, where you will find all the shops. And on this one, again, we have from 1 to 4 bedroom apartment. We can also combine to create larger units. And we have a client, for example, who just combined 2 units on the top floor to create a larger unit. So it really depends on your strategy, on your priority. Some clients want to be in the prime location and are happy to reduce the size to be in a very super prime location. Some others want to give priority to the space and are happy to be just a bit away in order to have maximum space in the apartment. So with these 2 projects, it's good because we have the 2 options, and you can really position yourself depending on your priorities.
And as you're talking about those, Charles, what I'm thinking is how those prices compare to other resorts at similar altitudes in the French Alps. And okay, Les Deux Alpes is different to Val d'Isère or Courchevel, 1850 or whatever, but it's, you can still, the comparison on price per square meter. We were talking before we started about how I believe you'd recently completed a property in Val d'Isère that was in the range of setting a new record for price per square meter in the resort, and it was almost like 4 times the price perhaps of these. So can you just speak on a bit of the value? Is that what people come there for? Is it values? Is it to get more space at a lower price but still have high altitude skiing? Is that the kind of mix they're looking for?
If I take really the high altitude ski domain, which are again located around 16, 17, 1800 meter altitude, we usually talk about Val d'Isère, Méribel, Courchevel, Val Thorens, but also so in the Isère region, Les Deux Alpes, Alpe d'Huez, and also Les Arcs, La Plagne. So if I take all these major high altitude ski resorts, we have an amplitude in terms of price per square meter, which goes from 10,000 euros per square meter to just above 50,000 euros per square meter. So you see the room is quite large. Alors it's true, like when you sell properties at 50,000 euros per square meter, you usually have the infrastructure which goes in line with it. For example, you will find a lot of 5-star hotels, designer shops, Michelin star restaurant, or even expensive restaurant. But when you buy in Les Deux Alpes in a high-altitude ski domain around 10,000 euros per square meter, you know that the capital appreciation will be high. When you buy already at 40k, 50k per square meter, you buy at the top of the market. So the strategy is not the same. Now, for someone again who wants to enjoy an all-year-round resort at a super competitive level of price with a great margin for capital appreciation, I think Les Deux Alpes is the place to go. Usually, we compare Les Deux Alpes with his sister, which is Alpe d'Huez. Alpe d'Huez today, on our top product, we reach around 16,000 euros per square meter. So 12 for Les Deux Alpes, 16,000 euros for Alpe d'Huez. In my opinion, already first, there is no reason why Les Deux Alpes will reach the level of Alpe d'Huez. It's a bit like what happened in between Morzine and Léger at the time. Morzine was always above Léger in terms of price per square meter. They are neighbor resorts, and step by step today, in between the two resorts, we reach the same level of price.
So, Charles-Antoine, Les Deux Alpes, it has lots of events throughout the winter, it has lots of events throughout the summer, but I understand there's one that's a little more white knuckle and on the crazy side of things. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I see, Lloyd, what you're talking about. You're talking about the Mountain of Hell mountain bike race. So it's quite a special race which happened in summer in Les Deux Alpes. So they start from the glacier at 3,200 meter altitude, and they go down to the Venosk village, which is located at 900 meter altitude. So it's more than 2,000 meter altitude going down. And so they start in line in the snow, so mountain bike on the snow, and then the slope becomes very narrow, and the snow transforms into traditional mud and land, and they go at the very bottom of the village. So it's quite epic because you have like all these crazy riders going down, and the rule is the first to arrive is the winner. So quite impressive to look at and a funny one to experience.
Charles-Antoine, thank you for taking your time out of your schedule. I know you're very busy. The season is almost starting, but I know you said you also had viewings starting already. So yeah, we really appreciate you taking your time out of your schedule to talk to us. And yeah, thank you for sharing your knowledge about Les Deux Alpes.
Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you for your time. It's always a pleasure to talk about nice places where you have a lot to discover. It's true, like winter is now around the corner. I'm quite busy with client meeting coming, and this time of year before the big rush of the holidays. Mountain looks beautiful. We already have some snow on the very top of the resort, and the first resort will open at the end of this month. So it's nice, and it's very promising for this coming winter.
Thank you, Charles.